everyone, it's Casey here. This was a quick video on how I use AI as a practice owner to help me with a lot of my documentation needs. I think this would be also helpful for practice managers, ops managers, essentially anyone doing some sort of document heavy tasks. I think AI is really good at documentation, but also things like financial forecasting, strategy stuff. Really gives you a lot of ideas. So if you're looking for ideas on how to solve a problem, AI can help with ideation process. So this was the post I put up yesterday. I talked about how I used it for strategy things. I can use it to forecast some financial things, break-even costs, net present value, things like that, as well as risk and compliance. So using it a lot for accreditation documentation or any sort of documentation in general. Like, it's great for documentation. So this is Gemini that I've got here. That's Google's AI. I think it's really great for utilize natural sounding language. I think it sounds more like you as a person than potentially the other AI. I think it's also a bit smarter. The reason why I use ChatGPT, though, is it has a few more functions in it that aren't necessarily related to actually how the AI works. It has this thing called projects where you can group a lot of documents together. It uses a process, and all AI use this process called retrieval augmented generation, so RAG. Essentially, AI works by looking all through the internet and all the data that's been trained on to give you a response. So if you're asking it about ROCGP 5th standards, you don't necessarily want it to look through all of the internet. You just want to look through the the fifth edition standards of accreditation and help you create a accreditation policy. So I'll show you how that works. So this is my post. Gemini, really good. One thing I like about Gemini is it can look through your Gmail and things like that. So you can just go at Gmail, or if you have anything else that's connected, essentially. So if you use a lot of Gmail and Google Drive, which is what I use for my like personal stuff, I suppose, great for that, like fantastic. Let me show you how I use ChatGPT. So you should still be able to see my screen. This is going through a whole example, so sorry if you've sort of seen this before. Essentially, I downloaded a few documents. So I'm going to create a policy on after hours deputizing service and an after hours policy. So I've uploaded just a couple of PDFs. Let me show you them. So the 5th standards for general practice, the AgPal accreditation that I found on the internet. I haven't read through it, so if this is not 100% related, well, it's related, but 100% something that you would use, this just for demo purposes, is the Australian government AMDS policy, essentially. So 23 pages. So I've uploaded those 3 things into just ChatGPT, and then I'll say, can you help me create an after hours policy for my clinic? So essentially you press enter. Now, while that's sort of loading up, what I'll show you is down on the left-hand side, you've got all your chats. So things that you ask ChatGPT, and it sort of just organizes it in like a huge list, which is fine. What I like to do is utilize a project. So 3 little buttons, move to project, new project, and we'll call this project, say accreditation policies. This might be a project that we come back to and upload more accreditation standards. Something else we might find an example policy, and it will create those things again based on those policies. So let's go back to our original chat. It's created a policy. I can read through it, I can make some edits. I might upload information about my own clinic. So I might have a little PDF or Word document that has, my name, practice manager's name, etc. Or you can say tailor this. Let's say tailor this to. We'll see what it comes up as. We'll see how good of a job it does. So it does know me pretty well. So I should be able to put in something that's related specifically to me and Connemine Medical Centre. So there you go. It's putting in our work hours and things, yeah. And then we provide after hours, a couple of days, as in Monday to Friday, Saturday morning, and then after hours after that. Now, I wanted to also chat about financial forecasting, which was another thing that I utilize it for. Let me go to my other chat just to save a bit of time. So this is a different chat. Essentially what I've done, I'm not sure why this is spinning wheels, but I've just uploaded some pictures, so screenshots. So ChatGPT, Gemini, all AI are great at recognizing data off screenshots. You don't necessarily need to upload PDFs or Excel sheets or things like that. So I've uploaded some benchmark reports. I don't know if you've ever seen these. These are from Prosperity Health. They're just available on Google. So there are some GP benchmarks that I want to compare my clinic to, and they just provide, some fees charged per GP, average billings. So essentially I've uploaded that and I've said, hey, can you see, what we're doing at our clinic? What is a recommendation that I can improve on? So they've said, your billings per hour are excellent. That's good We do a bit of MBS training, so that's nice. But then it said we're missing out on some underutilization of higher level items, so care plans, health assessments, things like that. That's an assessment that I've sort of made just looking through our dashboards as well. So yeah, that sounds good to me. And then it says there might be a way that we can improve this. You might, for example, ask your doctors if the patient meet criteria for certain things. That makes a lot of sense, right? If a patient meets the criteria for care plans, health assessments, we should do those things and provide great care to our patients, etc. And then it'll go through and provide some other recommendations, some benchmark insights. Some of these might be really good. Some of these might not be good at all. That's the beauty of AI, figuring out what it's done. So the whole idea of the RAG database is that it's easier to figure out what it's done because you've given it just a couple of things to essentially reference, as opposed to referencing GP clinics in the UK, which are based on, the NHS, and GPs based in America, which have a completely different billing system we have, or something like that, right? So I've given it Australian data, data from my clinic, and said, hey, can you look at this, make some recommendations? And then you can also save this into a project, and this might be my, financial calculation project. So I'll have a read through this and say, what exactly can we improve? Very much you should definitely read this and take into account. So it'll say all sorts of things which may not make any sense. So it's saying what not to change. Do not chase high patients per hour. You already outperform peers. Do not reduce chronic disease focus. That is a strategic strength. Do not overexpand telehealth indiscriminately. Some of this wording just sounds good. Like, what does that mean? Do not overexpand telehealth. I mean, we just do telehealth on our patients. But putting all this data can give you perspective. Perspective is what AI I think is really good, giving you other ideas, things to think about. So I will read through this. I will see if it makes sense. But that's how I use ChatGPT. I think it's, got a pretty good comparison here and a pretty good, executive summary. So hopefully that video has been helpful. So thanks for watching. All right, catch ya.